Welcome to another video. This is continuing my series of a rundown of my top 150 albums of all time. Yeah, I went off in a hurry and then slowed down considerably. I'm now going to give you the 110 to 101. I think that's about right in the order. Yeah. Okay. I'm going to talk briefly about them. I'm going to play you two tracks if you are on Rumble. If you're on YouTube, well, I'll have links to the albums in the description. These are my top albums of all time. And at age 70, of course, I've had a lot of time to listen to albums. So let's get on to 110. 110, I've got an album by Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers. In fact, this is the last album, studio album that they released before the sad loss of Tom. And this is called Hypnotic Eye. And when it came out, I just thought this is so classy. This, comparing it with their debut, which I love, but this was sophisticated rock music with guys who seriously know their craft. The two songs that I'm going to put on for Rumble people are Fault Lines and Shadow People. So, enjoy. This is Tom Petty and the Heartbreakers. It's called Hypnotic Eye, and it's at 110 in my countdown. At number 109 in my all best albums of all time, I've chosen the 2010 album by Corin Berry Ray called The Sea. This was a long overdue second album, and it didn't disappoint. I love this girl's voice. She's like a sort of female Stevie Wonder at times, and I love this album a lot, and that's why it's in my top 150. The title track is an absolute dream, and there's another great track called Paris Nights, which I'm going to play for you Rumble fans. Links in the description for you YouTube viewers. So that's my 109, Corin Bailey Ray, and the album was called The Sea. So it's 108 in my countdown. 1973, possibly the greatest live album of all time. Yes, you've got it. Its name, Live at Leeds, the band, The Who. This really, the first time I heard this, I thought The Who were a little gentle singles band. And then I heard My Generation live when Townsend virtually rips the guitar apart. And this is a stormer from beginning to end. The two tracks I'm going to highlight, that My Generation track, of course, and the other one, Young Man Blues. Great song. Could have chosen Substitute, of course. But what a terrific album, and it holds up so well. It's my 108 selection. It's live at Leeds, and it's by The Who. In 2000, there was a comeback by one of my favourite bands of all time. Their name's Steely Dan, and they released this album, Two Against Nature. There was a nifty concert that they recorded as well that you could buy, which featured some of these songs plus a lot of their old songs. I absolutely loved it, and I was sort of drooling. The Dan were back, and they were as good as ever. So that's why this is 107 in my countdown. And I'm going to feature two tracks from the album. One, Gasoline Alley, and the second, my favourite, Cousin Dupree. So, get stuck into this. Steely Dan, 2000, Two Against Nature, absolutely brilliant. At number 106 in my countdown is an album that probably not many of you would have heard of, and it was released in 1983. This artist came and disappeared, but she left us. She didn't die, but for some reason, people just didn't get it. I got it. Her name was Mary Wilson, and she had one of these 50s style hairstyles, which have got a particular name. Uh, and the album was called Show People. The music was very 50s, but with a polish, with a production that was 80s. And her voice was magnificent. And the harmonies on it and the band, I don't know anything about the band, but I absolutely adored this album and I still do. Mary Wilson, Mari. And the tracks that I want to highlight here, Wonderful to Be with, and The End of the Affair. There's about 15 tracks on this, some covers, most of them are covers, but she's got her own particular stamp on these songs, and it's wonderful music. So there we have it, Show People by Marie Wilson, and it's number 105 in my countdown. Sorry, 106 in my countdown. Get to listen to it. At 105, we're back to the huge bands that were around in the late 70s and the early 80s. And this one is a 1975 offering. It was the fourth album by the British band Queen. It was their biggest seller to date. It was called A Night at the Opera, and of course, it launched one of the greatest singles that I've ever heard. And it was at the back end of this album, and we're going to hear it again. Bohemian Rhapsody is the name of the song. And the second song that I really like is Seaside Rendezvous, which is a look at sort of life at the beach, life at the coastal resorts, and what happens in music hall at the seaside. Wonderful stuff. There we have it then. Queen, it's A Night at the Opera, and it's five-star stuff. 104 in my countdown is an album that was released in, when was it released? 1992. It was by the artist Leonard Cohen from Canada, and the album was called The Future. Now, back in the late 60s, when Leonard appeared on the music scene, he was very much a sort of folky type singer. I loathed his music. I just couldn't get into it. I was into noise, heavy rock, guitars. I slowly got into that stuff. But by the time he released The Future, I was ready for it. And this is a great album, quite a political album. His singing is, I guess, somewhat difficult to get to grips with. Is it talking? Is it singing? But his style is inimitable. And I love this album. And from The Future, a couple of tracks for you. First one is called Democracy, and the second one is called The Future, title track. Both great tracks. So there we have it. 103 in the countdown. I think that's right. Sorry, 104. Dear. 104 is Leonard Cohen's The Future. And for Rumble viewers, now you can get to listen to those two tracks. Democracy is Coming and The Future. 103 in the countdown is an album by an artist that swept me and millions other away with his class in the 70s. I'm talking about the Motown little Stevie Wonder, who became Stevie Wonder. And this is his third album of his new phase. when he was totally in control of his material, and it's called Inner Visions, and it's absolutely brilliant. Could have chosen any tracks from this. Don't you worry about a thing, and Higher Ground are my choices. Not much more to say about this album other than it's perfect. 103 in my countdown. Inner Visions by Stevie Wonder. Get to listen to this music now. 102 in my countdown. I've selected a jazz album. Um, Probably the only jazz album in my 150, which it doesn't really say anything about the albums. It just says a lot about my very conservative listening. But I've actually included this one because I've got it and because I bought it, and it's regarded as one of the greatest jazz albums of all time. And of course, I'm referring to, yeah, A Kind of Blue, Miles Davis, 1958, was it? Can't remember when. But yeah, this is great stuff, isn't it? And the tracks I'm going to offer to you Freddie Freeloader, and my favourite on this album, and a piece of music that was covered by, amongst others, Jeff Beck, called Old Blues, which is absolutely 5 star. So there we have it, 102 in my countdown. A, a Kind of Blue by Miles Davis. So the last album that I want to feature in this video, because I'm doing 10 selections for a video, and it comes as a bit of a surprise. Maybe it's 101 in my countdown. It's called Norman fucking Rockwell by Lana Del Rey, and this was released in 2019, I believe. And I've only come to this album within the last year, has to be said. And the first time I listened to it, I thought, wow, this girl is class. I haven't listened to much of her material, but this one really hit me straight away. It's a beautiful piece of music, very dark, very dramatic, very lots of strings on it. She's a great writer, of course, and I'm going to feature uh, Farmer's apartment, sorry, Foreigner's apartment complex, and Venus Bitch as the two tracks from this album. Okay, so that concludes this fourth video. We've got another 11 to go. Uh, is that right? 100 to 101. Fifth video, sorry. In my 15 that I'm going to choose. So my next video will go into the top 100. Bear with me. As I say, Rumble viewers, you get a taste of the music. YouTube viewers, well, I'm sorry, I can't do anything about it. You know, this copyright restriction is rather pathetic, really, given that most of these albums, made gobs of money for the artists, and any new people can get a taste of them, but you can't put audio on YouTube. Okay, that's my lot.